Welcome back to the deep dive. We are setting the clocks for right now, January 19th, 2026. And if you've been scrolling through the headlines this morning, you might get the distinct impression that the Wild West era of the internet is finally over.
It definitely feels like the sheriffs have ridden into town.
Right, they're pinning on their badges. I mean, look at the stack we have today. We've got new privacy laws for kids kicking in this April. We have the EU, now under Ireland, making huge regulatory moves on social media. We even have these coordinated warnings about our actual infrastructure, water, power.
It feels like the adults have finally entered the chat. That's the narrative, anyway.
That's the narrative they're selling.
Exactly. But the stack of reports we have in front of us, it tells a much more complicated and, frankly, a more cynical story. When you really dig in, a lot of it starts to look less like actual safety and more like political theater.
So we're talking about props and lighting, basically, all designed to make us feel safe but not actually stop the bad guys.
Precisely. And that's our mission for this deep dive. Keeping your systems safe is super important as businesses rely more and more on digital systems, and that's where Turnkey Cybersecurity can really help.
Yeah, we're here to help small businesses just like yours make sure they're safe and sound in this crazy world of cybersecurity. And we offer a whole suite of services specifically tailored for you. So that's ensuring CMMC compliance and doing penetration testing. We also run vulnerability scans, and we can help you develop a comprehensive risk assessment.
And it doesn't stop there, right?
No, it doesn't.
We handle incident response, should the unfortunate happen, and we guide you through migrations like GCC. We just want to make sure your transitions are smooth and that you're secure.
It's all about peace of mind, right? You focus on what you do best, running your business, and we'll make sure that your digital world is safe and sound.
Let's strip away the press releases and figure out, do any of these new rules actually protect you?
Or are they just adding friction to your digital life while the hackers and maybe the tech giants just keep on winning?
Let's find out.
Okay, so let's start with the legislation that's probably causing the most headaches in living rooms right now. The updates to COPIA.
The Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Yeah, this has been a slow-moving train for years.
Hasn't it? These rules were drafted during the last administration, paused, and now they're finally going live this April.
And on paper, the intention is noble. It updates the definition of personal info to include biometrics, which is huge, and it demands strict, verifiable parental consent.
That word verifiable is doing a lot of heavy lifting because for, 20 years, consent just meant clicking a button that said, yes, I was born in 1900.
And everyone was in on the joke. The new rules try to kill that joke. They require websites to legally prove the person clicking yes is actually the parent.
But this is where the theater critique from our sources comes in, right? Because the methods for doing this are, they're a mess.
They range from ineffective to incredibly invasive.
So the most common one is still the credit card verify, I saw.
Yes. The logic being only an adult has a credit card.
Which is a logic that hasn't held up since 2010.
Yeah.
Kids steal them. Or more likely they have their own debit card now.
Exactly. It proves you can pay for something, not that you're a parent.
Oh,
So the regulators suggest the next tier up. Government ID.
Okay, pause on that for a second. We spend years telling people, don't share your documents with random websites. And now, to let my kid play a mobile game, I have to upload a scan of my driver's license.
To a server that, let's be honest, will probably get hacked next week.
It's madness. You're increasing your attack surface, as they say, just to prove you're safe. And what does it even prove?
It proves someone with a license is at the keyboard. It doesn't prove that person is the parent of the child sitting next to them. It just verifies an identity exists.
The analysis even mentioned some more extreme options. Video conferencing.
Can you imagine the logistics of that?
Yeah.
A platform like TikTok or Roblox.
Yeah.
You're talking millions of users.
Yeah.
Trying to staff a call center to have a live video chat with every single parent.
Functionally impossible. It's friction designed to fail.
And the last one on the left was just laughable. Knowledge-based authentication.
The old, what's your mother's maiden name?
The exact stuff the banking industry abandoned years ago because all that data is on the dark web for pennies. So you're left with a law that demands verification but forces companies to use tools that are broken, invasive, or just plain fakeable.
The source material called this a win-win-win cynicism.
It's a dark kind of win. The websites win because the methods are flawed, kids get on, ad revenue flows, politicians win because they can say, we did something, and the kids win because they can game the system.
And the only loser is actual safety.
It's performance art, and this performance isn't just in the U.S. If you look across the Atlantic, Ireland just took over the EU presidency.
And they are pitching something that makes the U.S. rules look mild.
Oh, yeah. They're talking about ending social media anonymity entirely.
The stated goal is what? Defending democracy.
That's the phrase. The argument is you link every social media account to a government ID, and poof, no more Russian bots, no more anonymous abuse.
That sounds incredibly intense, like something out of an authoritarian state, not the EU. A digital panopticon where you have to show your papers to enter the town square.
It's a massive philosophical shift. To participate in the digital world, you'd have to surrender your anonymity completely.
And I'm guessing the U.S. tech giants are lobbying hard against this.
Seriously. But mostly for economic reasons, not, moral ones.
Of course.
The source notes they know that friction kills engagement. If you force users to scan an ID to post, user counts drop. Engagement drops, stock prices drop.
It always comes back to the quarterly earnings.
It usually does.
Yeah.
But it's not just corporations. There's a huge user backlash. Just look at what happened in the UK with their Online Safety Act.
Oh, right. When that went into effect, what was it, last July?
Yes. It required similar age verification, and VPN downloads in the UK just skyrocketed.
So the government builds a wall, and the people immediately buy a digital ladder.
A digital ladder. People aren't just accepting this big brother approach. They're actively using tech to mask their location, routing their traffic through, Switzerland or Panama, just to browse the web.
So we have the U.S. doing verification theater, the EU trying to abolish anonymity, and users just going underground with VPNs. What a mess.
It is. And this is where the whole illusion of control really starts to crumble. Because while governments are obsessed with verifying human identities,
they're missing the AI forest for the trees.
Exactly. AI is making it easier than ever to fake reality completely.
Which brings us to Elon Musk and Grok. The sources this week were pretty damning.
They were. The issue is this undressing software. Grok was allowing users to take photos of anyone, including children, and use AI to generate nude versions. It's horrific.
And this is where the theme really hits. Because Musk's solution wasn't to, scrub the code or ban it.
No. His first reaction was the standard free speech defense. But then countries like Indonesia and Malaysia blocked the tool. The EU launched an investigation.
He realized it was going to hurt the bottom line.
So he implemented a fix.
And the fix was charging for it.
He limited the feature to paying accounts.
That's just wild. You can't do this illegal, immoral thing unless you pay me $8 a month. It's a syntax for abuse.
It effectively sanctions the behavior for a fee. The source highlights the complete absurdity of it. It doesn't solve the safety issue, it just monetizes it.
And now he's saying he'll only block it where it's explicitly illegal, which brings us back to those VPNs.
Exactly. Blocked in France, but not somewhere else. The user just flips a switch and carries on. The regulators are playing whack-a-mole, and the tech companies are selling the mallets.
But there is a counter-movement, right? The source calls it the data war.
It really is a war. And it's not the regulators who are fighting back effectively. It's other companies and content creators. You have Reddit suing Perplexity, Musk suing California.
But the most sci-fi development is data poisoning. I love this. Explain how this works.
It's a grassroots defense. Researchers are releasing tools like Nightshade or Glaze that poison digital files. To a human eye, an image looks normal.
Okay.
But if an AI scraper tries to ingest that data for its training model, hidden code corrupts the learning process.
So it actually breaks the AI model.
It causes it to hallucinate or fail. It's like leaving out a plate of cookies that tastes great to humans, but is lethal to robots.
So it's basically saying, if the law won't protect my data, I'll ruin it so you can't steal it.
It's digital sabotage as self-defense. And it's becoming necessary because companies like OpenAI are trying to tell us everything's fine.
Right, with the ads coming to ChatGPT.
Yeah, they just announced ads in the free tiers claiming the ads won't influence the answers.
The source compared that to believing in the Easter Bunny.
It's a fair comparison. History tells us once ad revenue is the driver, the product serves the advertisers, not you.
Okay, so privacy theater, AI chaos, data poisoning. Let's shift gears to something that feels a bit more physical, the Internet of Things. Because the sources this week had a terrifying update on our infrastructure.
This is where the digital world could hit the physical world hard. We saw a coordinated warning from the UK's NCSC, the US CIRAS, the FBI, all of them.
Flagging imminent threats to water suppliers and power grids. And this isn't hypothetical, right? The UK had attacks in 2025.
Correct. And the core issue is connectivity. 10 years ago, the computer that controlled a pressure valve at a water plant was an air-gapped system.
An air gap just means it literally wasn't plugged into the internet.
Exactly. To hack it, you had to physically break into the building. It was isolated by a gap of air. Now, everything is online.
Which brings up a naive question. Why don't we just certify these things? My toaster has a UL safety rating. Why doesn't the internet-connected valve at the water plant have a CyberSafe sticker?
That is the tragedy buried in this week's news. The U.S. government tried to do exactly that.
With Underwriters Lab, UL, the gold standard.
Right. They launched a voluntary IoT security labeling program with them, and the program collapsed. UL resigned.
Why? That seems like a massive contract to walk away from.
Geopolitics. This is where it gets really complicated. UL relies on testing labs in China for a huge amount of their work.
And most of this hardware comes from China.
Exactly. So the source explains the dilemma.
You go.
If a Chinese lab tests a Chinese product and reports it has a security backdoor,
That would be awkward for the Chinese government.
it would be dangerous for the staff.
Yeah.
Under China's national security laws, reporting a vulnerability that embarrasses the state could be seen as a crime. The people at those labs would face serious risks.
So UL couldn't guarantee an honest test without endangering their people.
They couldn't, so they walked away. They realized they couldn't operate the program with integrity.
So that leaves us.
On our own. NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, is left holding the bag with no one to run the certification. So there's no guarantee the tech your city buys hasn't been compromised at the factory level.
That feels like a massive vulnerability just sitting there.
It is. And it pairs with the fact that hacking is now a full-blown economy.
Which brings us to the leak economy. The list of stuff floating around the dark web this week is just staggering.
It's a diverse and disturbing list. First, Target. Hackers aren't just selling your credit card anymore. They're selling the source code. 1 terabyte of it.
It's so much worse. If you have the source code, you have the blueprint to find new ways to break in later.
Precisely. Then you have the massive Spotify leak. A group called Anna's Archives claims to have stolen 300 terabytes of music. The whole library.
Their excuse was they were preserving it, right? Like they're not stealing it, they're just backing it up in case Spotify explodes.
A flimsy rationalization. But then we have leaks designed to destroy reputations. The source mentioned a leak from dating sites for white supremacists.
Yeah, the Nazi Tinder story.
The site names were Europids, White Child, White Deal. 100 gigabytes of data exposing the real identities of people on these hate group dating sites.
I mean, it's hard to feel bad for them, but it proves the point. If you put data online, it will leak.
That's the lesson, whether it's hate groups or the IC agents being doxxed on that revenge platform.
Right, the one that was attacked, but the owner refuses to take it down.
Or that chilling note about Jeffrey Epstein's island. The source mentioned cameras were everywhere. It implies a massive cache of compromat blackmail material still exists somewhere.
It just feels like the dam is breaking. Is there any good news? Is there any tooth to these regulations, or is it all theater and leaks?
There is some good news. We are seeing what happens when the government stops asking nicely and starts threatening the bank account.
You're talking about CMMC.
The Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification. It sounds boring, but it's the most effective thing happening. The Department of Defense is drawing a line.
No compliance, no contract.
Exactly. We saw an Army RFP for drones that said vendors need Level 2 CMMC compliance just to see the requirements. If you want that contract, you have to be locked down first.
And what about for regular people? Is there anything like that for us?
California is trying. They launched a site called DropNow. It lets you force data brokers to delete your info.
We've seen those do not sell my info buttons. They usually don't work.
The difference is the penalty. If a broker fails to delete your data, the fine is $250.
That doesn't sound like much for a huge company.
It's $250 per violation, per person, per day.
Oh, okay. Let me do the math on that. So if they ignore 1,000 people...
For 1 week, that's $1.75 million. It scales to bankruptcy levels very, very quickly. That is the kind of math that makes a CEO pay attention. That's what teeth look like.
Okay, so let's try to unpack this. We have this verification theater for kids' safety that's built on broken tools. We have the collapse of IoT safety because of geopolitics.
It's a split reality.
But then we have the military in California actually hitting companies in the wallet to force real security.
It's true. Where the money is massive, like defense contracts, or where the fines are existential, like in California, we see real measures. Everywhere else, in the abstract protect the children space, we get theater.
And stuck in the middle of all that is us. The user buying VPNs to hide from the safety laws, poisoning our own data to fight AI.
It raises a really provocative question for you, the listener, doesn't it?
What's that?
Well, we're moving toward a world where the government wants you to link your official ID to everything you do online.
Right.
But at the same time, the only way to protect your data from AI is to poison it, to make it fake or corrupt.
I see where you're going. To be a good citizen, I have to verify my identity. But to be a safe user, I have to lie.
Exactly. Are we entering an era where the only way to be safe is to actively sabotage the internet we use? If you have to break the web to survive on the web, have we just broken the internet completely?
That is a headache-inducing thought to end on. If I have to become a digital saboteur just to keep my privacy, what's the point of the connection?
That is the question for 2026.
Well, on that cheerful note, thank you for diving in with us. Stay safe out there, watch out for those water valves, and maybe check your privacy settings again.
Yeah.
Catch you on the next deep dive.